Welcome back, friends, family, fans, everybody, to episode 7 of the SportsCast with your boy Dre, Alex, and Albert. We had a great holiday stretch of football, man, between Christmas, New Year's, bowl games, NFL, all of it. But today we're going to focus mainly on the college football with the bowl games and the college football playoff games. But first, we'll start low, then work our way up. So we'll start with the Tennessee game versus Iowa. So I didn't watch the full game, but I watched like most of it. So Alex, if you could just, kind of fill me in on what happened pretty much.
Well, I mean, there was a game lower than the Tennessee Iowa game that we won't talk about it, but man, it was just completely dominated by Tennessee from start to finish. Really, I mean, it was close there in the beginning. I mean, Iowa's got a really good defense. They were a top 10 defense in the country, I believe. We were starting our freshman quarterback, Nico. A lot of questions going into that game. And if you watch College Game Day, I think Lee Corso was the only person that picked us to win that game. And we came in and just dominated from start to finish. I mean, Nico looked like a stud. The defense looked good, which, I mean, it's not really saying much against Iowa's offense. So, but our offense looked great against that defense. I mean, we got a lot of young players that played that looked really good. Our third and fourth string running backs played, and, man, they looked great. Nico, he ran for 3 touchdowns. He passed for 1. 35-0. The score just speaks for itself.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can all tell Nico Iamaleava is going to be a star one day in Tennessee. With 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 touchdown pass, we can most certainly tell that he is going to be a great dual threat quarterback coming into next season. But if he could just work on his arm, just getting more passing touchdowns, he could be a Heisman candidate in like the next 2 years or so. So I agree with you right there with Nico.
He could.
Yeah, I kind of just watched the fourth quarter of it, kind of like towards the end. I saw he do like a couple passes. I'm like, hey, this dude, look, he has an arm,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get much out of it.
Stats.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, I only saw like the very minimum of it. But I was just like, sorry, go ahead, my friend.
No. You mentioned the stats, like just real quick. Like I was watching like I think it was ESPN. They're like, oh well, Nico didn't have that many passing yards. Like, well, yeah, you don't really have to when you rush for 3 touchdowns. Like, I mean, like I don't know. I could get on topic about how much
Iowa still has a elite defense. Their offense is dog water, but their defense is still there.
I think when Cade McNamara got injured, when did he get injured? That
it was early, I think, in the season, wasn't it? Like week 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was like very early, but I could tell Cade McNamara was gonna like change the franchise for Iowa, but ever since he's been injured, I don't think the Iowa offense ever really got any rhythm throughout the season.
They were one of the worst ranked offenses in Division I football. Like they were. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure us 3 could go out there on defense and at least put up a fight. So I mean, yeah. So yeah, but that's really all I had to say about it. Just good job, Tennessee. Glad we got the win. Glad we finished the year 9-4 on a high note.
Tennessee.
Go Vols, I guess.
Go Vols, baby, all day long. So.
Go Vols. All right, so next we'll kind of go very, very lightly just on the Music City Bowl. Just real quick on it. Just I'm just gonna say some stuff real quick. Kind of like what you did, say some quick stuff. We came out looking like shit. Oh, excuse my French. Sorry, looking like crap. Auburn. It didn't really we didn't show up to play at all. I know we had a lot of opt out stuff like that, but I'm starting to kind of veer off topic. But I feel like bowl games are becoming less and less meaningless. You know what I mean? Because everybody opt out of it to go to NFL and stuff like that, or just not play at all. And I feel like with Florida State problem with that, like we were saying, it should have been Florida State in, but they proved to us that they shouldn't be in because, none of them wanted to play. They played their you know, freshmen and water boys on their team so that so they didn't have to play. And with that, I feel like they proved the committee right, essentially, showing that they didn't have enough heart to at least try to prove them wrong. They said no, we're just gonna go do our own thing,
Hmm.
watch from the sideline or watch them at home or something like that. So I really feel like bowl games are just becoming kind of meaningless now. And I wish, the NCAA could just find a point to where they're somewhat or still relevant again.
I agree. Auburn did not show up at all, even without Talia's brother. I can't tell whether if Billy Edwards is going to create like a cult for Maryland or it was just Auburn being bad. But at the same time, has like a Auburn has a bit of opted out players too, or even players from the transfer portal like Robbie
Yeah.
Ashford. But
Yeah.
but I just feel like Peyton Thorne, he did have a touchdown pass to Brendan Frazier, but I think what's been holding back Peyton Thorne like all season was his receivers. I mean, throughout the whole season, man, receivers have been dropping a lot of balls and creating like big holes for Auburn that don't allow them to succeed. So, but we have weapons coming in for Peyton Thorne next season, like Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson. But I
Yeah.
believe they're both 5 stars. But I hope they can help Peyton Thorne and with all they can. If not, then we'll know how Peyton Thorne's future is going to look in the professional field.
I don't know. It's just like I've said before. I feel like it's kind of more of Peyton and like the offensive coordinator, like because our offense just looks so awful because we're running the ball like third and 15, expecting to get the first down, and we don't get the first down. Everybody's like, "Oh, we need first down, punt team." 3 and out because we're running the ball, so we should run the ball. I remember seeing 2 plays back to back for our game where it was just like we ran the exact same play in the exact same formation, 2 plays in a row, and both of them, lost yards. And I'm just like, what are we doing out here? Because at this point, it feels like we're just here because we're not even trying to move the ball. I feel like at this point, we're just losing at the point of attack. Defense is lazy, offense is lazy. Just nobody wants to be here. Special teams fumbling the ball. It's all around. It was just bad football for Auburn, and I just feel like we need to leave that in this season and then don't carry that into next season. Keep that here and work real hard this off season, and we just need to make sure we're good this off season.
I
But
agree.
yeah, but moving on from that, man, it's not really well. One game I do want to highlight. This is the Missouri Ohio State game. I know
Mhm.
Ohio State fans gonna be like, "Oh, we didn't have a quarterback," and yada yada yada. Man, Mizzou dragged them. I feel like that game wasn't even close the whole time. I feel like Mizzou kind of just showed up, dragged them in the mud, stomped them, and then just left them. Went back to Mizzou. They left them back in. I think the game was in Dallas, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and yeah, it was really actually. I'm thinking of the wrong game. I'm sorry. That game was very boring to watch for the first 3 quarters. Let me correct myself. That game was a hard watch the first 3 quarters until the fourth quarter. Mizzou finally got some offense going. And once the offense got going, then they pretty much didn't look back. It was a very defensive game. I want to say defensive. I would just say a sloppy offensive game for both teams
Mhm.
till like the fourth quarter when Mizzou came alive and they started moving the ball, scored touchdowns. And then Mizzou came out with the win. So I just wanted to highlight that if y'all wanted to add anything to that. And I have another. I want to talk about
Well,
this.
clearly Mizzou won because Kyle McCord entered the transfer portal. Like, please correct me. Who's the quarterback that played for Ohio State
Last
during
year.
the Mizzou game? No. The Mizzou game.
Oh,
Oh,
well, it was someone else. I think his last name. Oh, it was Devin Brown. I remember that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Devin
But then
Brown.
he got
I'm
hurt. So then they put in a true freshman, I think it was, and then it was kind of just like,
Well, I mean, Ohio State wasn't a big hole to begin with when Kyle McCord entered the transfer portal. I mean, still trying to figure things out for next year. So, You just have to give them a little time for the offense to come out explosive.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes teams like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, if they kind of start slow like that, then it kind of, I wouldn't say stay slow, but it's to kind of take some while to get back on track. Uh, I know they kind of, just lost their quarterback. It's one of those things where it's just like we're losing the value of bowl games because we're playing kids fresh out of high school,
Yeah.
and they should be playing right now pretty much because they still need to be developed. They still need to get stronger, bigger, faster, more accurate with the ball and stuff like that. It just goes back to that point where kids shouldn't be opting out of the bowl games. Instead, just
Mm-hmm.
playing, one last game with your teammates or something like that.
Yeah.
And I understand the risk of injury and stuff like that, but I also feel like, regardless, you put your body on the line, so just do it one more time.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this, last year's Ohio State team that almost and could have and maybe even should have beat Georgia to go to the Natty, which, in my opinion, last year that was the national championship game, obviously, because I saw what Georgia did to
Yeah.
TCU. But, um, you know, Ohio State lost a lot. And even with like a top, tier program like Ohio State, it takes time to replace that talent sometimes. I mean, I just think they lost so much. They didn't have the talent they had last year. And then Missouri, like a lot of their guys are like very experienced dudes. Like was it Brady Cook is his name, their
Yeah.
quarterback? That
Yes,
guy's been
Brendan Cook.
starting since he was a true freshman. Like he's he's an experienced SEC quarterback. Missouri had a good roster this year. I'm not I'm going to go out and go ahead and say this. We're not about to see a Missouri dominant run in the SEC. We're not about to see that. It's
Oh
not
no,
going to
no. I think
happen.
it was kind of just like one of those
In one of those
Cinderella
magical
years.
years,
Yeah, exactly.
they're going to get, probably preseason ranked pretty high next year. Go in the top 25. They're going to play okay. Then they're going to come in the Neyland next year. As I think, if I remember, we play Missouri in Neyland next year. And then we're just going to smash the crap out of them. So, I mean, it is what it is. Good job, Missouri. Happy for you. Proud of you. Don't get a
They
big
had
head.
a great season.
Yeah.
Really great season.
Stay humble. Stay humble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay humble. But what I'd say, just another point, for the Oregon Liberty game, it was kind of like what we said. It was just like, why are they in a New Year's Six game? that was horrific. Like they started off slow. It was like 6-3 first quarter, but then after that, Oregon dropped like 20 some in the second quarter. So then it kind of just like,
It
Now,
wasn't a game.
I understand that. I understand the college football playoff bracket. Like, let's be honest, the two games that were in the bracket, they were like the best bowl games out of all the bowl games.
Mm.
But putting
Yeah.
Liberty in, I just don't think it wasn't a good idea for TV wise, because I think we all knew this was going to be a blowout by Oregon.
Yeah.
Bo Nix had a spectacular performance, though. He had 5 touchdowns in his very last game, and just seeing him play like his very best game in his very last game, I
yeah, he
think
went out with a bang for sure.
he went out with a bang, and it's really gonna raise up his NFL draft stock. So
Yeah. He could
I
be.
won't be surprised if he gets selected in the second or third round. And congrats to Bo Nix, man. He's been
I
the
don't know, man.
Auburn quarterback for 3 years, and then Oregon for his last 2 years, and he had a phenomenal college football career. Like, he had a career like no other quarterback can have. He beat Alabama, and he went nearly almost to the playoffs this year. So, I mean, you can't ask for a better career than that. Well, maybe, but still.
Yeah, lots of success in there. And then last year, they went to playoff too, but I think they lost to Oregon State, kind of like the last game of the season or something like that. So they didn't get in.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm glad Bo Nix finally got his last dance. I'm excited to see him play at the next level, see which team, picks him up, drafts him, and kind of go
I
from
mean,
there.
not
I feel like
to
the draft class also is really loaded too.
it is,
Go ahead,
but not to
Alex.
like go into the NFL draft too much. But I have been hearing Bo Nix getting a little bit of late first, early second round buzz because, again, not to get into NFL and all that too much, but there's a lot of teams that really need a quarterback.
Yeah,
They really need a
at least a good
quarterback. They need a
backup.
quarterback bad. I mean, you got Jaden Daniels getting first round buzz. I mean, obviously Drake May, Caleb Williams, duh. Uh, and Bo Nix is right up there, and pretty sure Quinn Ewers is going back to Texas. All these guys that are going that they think that were like going to go into the draft. A lot of them are going back. Like Carson Beck's another one. He's going back to Georgia. Bo Nix could get bumped up into the second, maybe crazily enough into the late first round. I don't know. We'll see. Cam Ward's going into the draft for some reason. Haven't figured that one out yet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
so not to get
Maybe
off
he would
topic,
just
just
be
yeah.
one of those project QBs or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I mean, anything
on
could happen
to
though.
Yeah.
He could get drafted in the 6th round and end up becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, Brock
yeah.
Purdy,
No,
Mr.
well,
Relevant. I know who you're talking
yeah,
about. Yeah, I just wanted to make
could be
sure.
something like him.
Don't do this right now. I'm
So
too tired for this.
playing a big gamble right here.
Too tired for this nonsense, Alex. I don't have time for this. Anyways, we're going to get into the playoff games now. So we'll start with the Sugar Bowl, Washington and Texas. I said not late to watch the game, but for California, it wasn't very late. But it felt late because, it gets dark at like 3 o'clock now all of a sudden. So it felt kind of late. But that game was real joy to watch. Washington kind of pulled away at the end there, and then once they pulled away, Texas kind of started creeping back towards the end, but then they still held their ground pretty well at the end. I feel like Washington needs to figure out why that Texas creep up started happening at the end right there, and kind of clean that up if they want to have a chance at the against Michigan, pretty much.
Well, Washington played a really good game offensively. Michael Penix
Mhm.
had, I believe, 2 or 3 touchdowns, 2 or 3 passing touchdowns in the Sugar Bowl. However, if they're going to face Michigan, they have to figure out their defense, and they're going to have to figure out Michigan's defense and their defense as well, because Blake Corum is one heck of a player. Is he going to the draft this year?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think he said yet. I don't think he's probably going to wait till after the national championship to declare. Probably like JJ
Well,
McCarthy.
yeah, he wants to win the national championship
Yeah.
more than anything right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good game played by Washington, even though they kind of stalled late in the game. But if they're going to win the national championship, they have to, find a way to get past Michigan's defense and figure out how they can get their defense better against Michigan. Those are the main 2 things, because right now Washington are underdogs, and of course I have Michigan winning the national championship.
Yeah,
I just quite yet. Get there, yeah, we'll get there.
I thought it was a really good game. I didn't think it was going to go that way. I mean, I knew that Michael Penix was going to light it up. Like he's been doing it all season. I just I don't know. I thought Texas's defense would be the deciding factor there, but I mean, the deciding factor was Washington's offense. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Texas played bad. It's just, I mean, I'll admit when I'm wrong. Washington's a better team. They just played better. They scored better. I mean, yeah, Washington's defense struggled, but I mean, I've been saying I think every episode of this podcast, Pac-12 defenses aren't good. So, I mean,
yeah.
it's expected. But hey, I'm cool with Texas losing. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy with the Natty this year. I mean, yeah, no SEC team, whatever. But as long as it ain't Bama, as long as it ain't Georgia, I'm fine with it.
It's something different,
Okay.
and we all like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Can't
agree with
stand
that.
Texas, so yeah.
But then we got the other side of the bracket in the Rose Bowl, Michigan and Bama. That game was really great to watch. I hate Bama, obviously. I feel like we all hate Bama at this point. Everyone but Bama fans hate Bama, if we're being honest, right? But
Facts.
but it was a great game to watch. Michigan, they came out first play of the game, and JJ McCarthy did an interception right to the defense, but it was out of bounds, came back in. But it was still just like, bro, what are you doing? I felt like for a second there he didn't show up to play, and that kind of got me kind of nervous there. But then at the time, the offense settled in, defense stayed settled in pretty much the whole game. I feel like, for Michigan at least, and then Michigan came out on top of that. Hold on one second, my cat's meow. All right, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I know you hear that, but yeah, and then I don't know. I just feel like Michigan almost. I feel like the score should have been a lot worse than what it was for Michigan, but their special teams was really not executing at all,
No.
and it almost cost them the game too. There at the end, so I feel like if Michigan cleans up their special teams, man, they'll be a dangerous team for a good while.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. Defense wins championships, and Michigan proved that. They sacked Jalen Milroe 5 to 6 times. They really brought out the Black Air Force energy on Jalen Milroe, and I could tell, like I mentioned earlier, Blake Corum had one heck of a game. He had 2 touchdowns, including the one in overtime where he spun around a couple times, juking the defense to give Michigan the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Michigan's defense held Jalen Milroe from scoring. But the problem with Bama, well, even though Michigan made a lot of mistakes on special teams and a couple other times as well, but Alabama, we can all agree that the center, Seth McLaughlin, did not play a good game. Now he's going to Ohio State to try and redeem himself. But Jalen Milroe also had a costly fumble as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama just did not look like themselves most of the game. So you could really tell Michigan was just the better team. They're undefeated, and that's what they proved.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I love to see me a Bama downfall on the first day of the year.
Oh.
What a way to start the year.
I agree. I think Alabama just got outplayed just at every level. I mean, and I know you don't really utter those words a lot when you're talking about, an Alabama team that's been, dominant for since Nick Saban got there pretty much. Yeah, I mean, Alabama's offensive line looked terrible. I mean, just like trash, if we're being honest. I think his name's, was it J.C. Latham? He's supposed to be like a top 10 draft pick. He looked horrible. He got beat constantly, and it made me happy. The play calling, I think, was terrible for Bama, too, if I can hit on that for a second. I don't understand some of their play calls in the clutch moments. Milroe, I didn't think had a very good game. Alabama's defense just, I just think Alabama as a whole just had a bad game, and you can't have a bad game in the semifinals of the college football playoffs,
Yeah,
because that's what happens when you do. You get beat, and I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see Alabama get beat. And I love after every time Alabama loses, I love hopping on Facebook and seeing the excuses that Bama fans are saying that, Venus is in retrograde, so, and Jalen Milroe's an aquarium or whatever, or just something dumb like that, At the bottom line, at the end of the day, Michigan was a better team. They beat you. They're probably going to win the Natty, let's be honest. And, yeah. So, love to see Bama lose, baby. Love it.
yeah. I don't know if y'all saw that video from this guy named Drewski. During the SEC championship week, he was like, "I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide."
And then there's Willie too. I believe
Roll Tide Willie.
he started the I about nothing but the Tide. I love hearing. Well, we don't like hearing that, but it's just the way he says it is funny.
Yeah. But then we didn't hear it this weekend, so that was, or not this weekend, or was it? Yeah, it was this weekend, well before. So that was a blessing in disguise, right? But
Facts.
so we'll move on to kind of the prediction part of this for the national championship, the granddaddy of them all, the
Mhm.
college football playoff national championship, the I don't know. But it's in Houston, Texas, right? I think it's their first time hosting a national championship game. So that'll be interesting to see. I know Energy Stadium there is pretty nice. I've been there a couple times. But man, here's what I have to say, right? If, like I said earlier, if Michigan comes out with, without the special teams miscues and offense is at least, scoring some points, defense gonna feel like it's gonna hold up regardless.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't say hold up, but they're gonna not get outscored, right? They'll probably give up maybe out. My guess, I'll say they'll give up maybe a good 28, 31, somewhere in there, like 20 31 points to Washington, which is it doesn't sound like a lot, but I feel like it's a lot for a Michigan's defense. Because
Mhm.
Michael Penix is still going to be him. It's either he's going to show up and ball out, or he's going to like low key fold. I feel like for Michael Penix, so we'll see kind of how that goes. But I'm going to take Michigan in this one to be this year's college football playoff national champions. My final score prediction will be I'm going 45-31 Michigan. I'm going 42-31 actually. 42-31 Michigan.
Bold. I like it.
All right. Well, I got Michigan. I'd say it's going to be a lower scoring game. I'm going to say 24-21. It is going to be really close since both teams are undefeated. And what Michigan needs to do to win, though, is kind of just improve on offense because Washington and Michael Penix are some gunslingers. He has weapons like Polk, Odunze, but however, I believe they lost Dylan Johnson to an injury late in the Sugar Bowl. But I don't think it should really affect them that much. But I think overall, like I said earlier, defense wins championships. And if the defense comes out with the same energy they did in the Rose Bowl, they're going to win the national championship. And if the offense can get something going with Blake Corum and other weapons such as Roman Wilson. But that's what I have. 24-21 Michigan.
Well, I'll be the odd man out. I think Washington's going to win. I think Washington's going to win. I really do. I know I said earlier, Michigan, realistically win a national championship. Nah, it's going to be Washington, dude. That was my bluff, you see. I believe in Michael Penix Jr. I believe in that Washington offense. I can't believe me, of all people, was taking a Pac-12 team. But, man, I like the Huskies. I like the way Michael Penix Jr. plays. I like how electric they are. Romeo Dudze is just an elite wide
So you're
receiver.
kind of behind them for more of the story part of it. But
Yeah.
okay, that's fair.
I like it. I like it. I do. And I like Michael Penix Jr. a lot. I like the way he plays. I just like him. So I'm not gonna say it's like a Cinderella story for Washington to win, because it's not. But uh, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a tight game, 35-32 Washington. How it's gonna play out is that it's gonna be tied. Then Michael Penix Jr. is going to lead this team down the field to field goal range, kick a field goal, win the ball game. Last minute field goal, 35-32.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
I'm
So
probably wrong.
we both have some somewhat high scoring games here. Mine's I guess.
It would be nice to see a Pac-12 national championship in their final year, though. I am going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's just like then everybody be like, oh, the Pac-12 is the best conference in college football, and it's like, But I do like Washington too. I do like their story. I do like the good underdog story. But I don't know, man. the blue and yellow, or I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm attracted to it. That sounds weird, but that's what's calling me right now. So I feel like that blue and yellow, man. Michigan,
Hmm.
go blue. That's what I'm feeling right now. I stuck with him against Bama. I'm gonna stick with him against Washington as well, man.
I think it's
That'll
going to
be
be a
my
good
pick.
game. I think it's going to be a great national championship game.
It is. It is.
Better than
Hopefully,
last year's,
like
probably.
yeah, I was saying. Hopefully, it's not like
Oh
last year.
yeah,
That shit
Oh,
was
God.
that
definitely.
crap was awful. That was awful. But we'll wrap it up there, boys. So those were our picks for the Natty. We'll come back next week, talk about the results, what happened, reactions, all that fun stuff. We're gonna post another episode later this week, but it'll be about NFL football and the playoffs coming right up. But my name's Trey, it's your boy Albert, your boy Alex. Thank y'all for watching SportsCast episode 7. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.